Hello people, welcome to the 17th of February. Just uploaded the carving vlog yesterday, or was it the day before yesterday? I don't remember which. We're out in the shop, as you can see. We got the carving done. I got those panels out here. This is the first half of the panels. When I got them carved, I brought them out, and there's 23 panels in that stack. They're ready for paint. I'm not going to work on those today because I've got those to do. That was a set I just finished. I've got to get those all base coated, which is what those are. Those are all been base coated and they're nice and dry. As you can tell, I should have switched the camera earlier, sorry. But as you can tell, I don't know what you can tell. We'll find out here. As you can tell, we're going to be real busy here with painting. I've got about 5 or 6 different colors I got put on these panels. We're going to start out with the base coat on the 23 panels I just got done carving. Now, to do my base coat, I'm just using a basic white paint. And what I end up doing is I go down to Home Depot. I find the cheapest paint they've got. All I need it in white, and I get it by a 5-gallon bucket. Now, that 5-gallon bucket will last me about a year, maybe 2, depending on how many foam projects I do. All my foam projects, I base coat. Reason being, it ends up saving on the colored paint, which tends to be a little bit more because I get a different grade of paint for that. My mind's going every which way, and I'm sorry about that. But anyway, it helps save a little bit of money in the long run, and a big 5-gallon bucket like that is about $65. The gallon cans of paint that you get of color paint that you get, those are like 20 to 30 bucks a pop. You know, so they're way more expensive. So you want to save some money by base coating the foam. And it also helps the colored paint to stick better to the panels as well. Now, what I do is I take enough paint out of that bucket, I put it in a gallon can, and then I mix some water to it because it's fairly thick coming out of the can and will not go through my spray gun. So I have to dilute it down, which also helps lengthen how much paint you go through because you're adding water to it, you're adding volume. I'll probably end up adding, by the time I'm done using that bucket, probably about a gallon's worth of water to it over the course of time. But anyway, this has all been mixed up. It's ready to go. And then what I'm going to do, see if I can get one of these out. It's a paper cone with some mesh on the bottom of it. It's a paint sieve. And I've got to get it opened up, and it doesn't want to open up. But I'll ladle paint through that into the can here and then pour this into my spray gun. What this is doing is if there's any debris or large granules in there that in the paint that will clog up the paint sprayer when I'm spraying, this gets rid of it. So I always sieve it, especially older paint that's been sitting a while, you know, on the shelf, you know, in between projects and stuff. Definitely sieve it because it's going to get debris in it, dried paint and stuff on the sides and stuff when you mix it. You need to keep that stuff out if you're spraying. Now with the paint project, I'm going to be using several different techniques to paint. The first one, the one we're doing now, I'm using a larger spray gun. And we'll do all the base coat in that. And if I remember, as we get into the different steps I'm going to be doing, I'll talk about, you know, what I'm using and maybe why. I don't know. But anyway, we're into base coating. I got 23 panels to base coat, and then they're going to need to sit overnight or a couple of days for the paint to dry. Right now, it's sitting at about 70 degrees in here. So I'm thinking overnight ought to be all right. Nice thing is, you have those there. They're already done and dry. So when I get done spraying the base coat on those, I could switch over and start the next part with those. It depends on what I have room in here, and I probably won't have much room. But anyway, we're going to get going here. Well, it's the next day, and I was going to wait to shoot this clip until I was ready to do the next step. But I thought I'd show you the mess I've got out here. This is the aftermath of spraying the base coat. Now that big stack there, that was the first set. But we've got panels all over the place. I need to get cleaned up and straightened up out here. And and it also goes down into the storage locker too. But there's 23 that's 23 panels. But now I need to get cleaned up, get stuff put away, and then we're going to get set up to do the next step. And I'll give you another clip on that one here in just a bit. Well, cleaned up is done, and I'm all set up and ready for the next step. Next step on the panels here is the grout lines. I gotta get those sprayed because I am going to end up with some slop from it on the brick panels. Now to do the grout lines, I don't need my big paint sprayer and my paint gun that I used to do the white on here. And it's just too big and I wouldn't be able to control it, and I'd have a hell of a mess. So I broke out my airbrush, and I'm using on this one, I had some leftover, it's almost a black, but it's more gray than black, kind of a grayish black. I'm going to use that for the grout lines, and I've got to go through all 46 panels, and anywhere there's a grout line, I've got to spray it. It's going to make the panels look like a mess until I get the other colors on. But I've got the airbrush set at 90 pounds worth of pressure. It's a bit excessive for an airbrush, but I find it works best for doing what I'm doing. The paint has been watered down significantly to go through that. And it's just a matter of going through and hitting each one. But this is the next step. Okay, progress made. Took about 2.5 days, if that. No, actually, it was 2.5 days. I got 14 panels done the first day. And the second day, I got over 20 done. And then today, I had 10 left to do. So, yeah, 2.5 days, we'll call it. But grout lines are done. And I know if you get a really close look at this one, the lines aren't all that straight with the spraying, but it doesn't matter. I was just trying to get paint down into the gap anyway. So, but anyway, we're on to our next step on this. I had a decision to make on what to do next. I have the brick to do. I have some detail work up here on the skulls, and I have the inserts on the knots to do. I'm saving the raised portions here, the final raised portions, for last. So I was going to do the insets, and I think we're going to work on the brick next, which is going to be a combination of brush and roller. Brushing, I have to cut in along the edges all the way around, as well as around the knot, and then the main field will be done by roller. And it's going to be done in 2 stages. I think I'm going to start with rolling it first, and we'll go from there. To do this, I'm doing 2 different. I'm doing this. Well, I'm doing it. Okay, I'm doing it. I got a paint tray out. We'll put the paint in down here. To save time on cleanup, I've used some aluminum foil and lined the pan with it. Then when I'm done with my rolling, I just take the aluminum foil off, throw it away, and the pan can get put away. For rolling, I'm using a 4-inch roller, and it's a sponge roller. With the grout lines and everything, when I'm rolling, the sponge roller, I can just go over the top. I gotta remember not to gunk up the roller with a lot of excessive paint, or I'll get down the grout lines. If I use a regular roller that has some nap on it, in other words, the furry type, I'll end up getting more paint in the grout lines than I need. I'll end up having to come back with my brush and fixing it. So, best to avoid that and just use a sponge. And like I said, you got to remember not to put a lot of paint on the roller and not to press real hard either, or you'll get paint down in the grout lines. And to be honest, I have a habit of pressing too hard, so I'm going to end up having to do touch-ups on the grout lines more than likely. I'm hoping not. But I know me way too well. But anyway, that's the next step. We're going to get the rolling done on all the panels. Get all 46 rolled. Then I'll come back through and I'll run you through how I'm doing the brushwork. Well, it's the next day. And I have had a change on how I'm doing it. I originally had planned on doing that, rolling it. And on camera, you really can't see it. But if you get down here, my rough indentations, when I'm rolling it, I'm having trouble getting paint into some of the depressions, and it's leaving it spotty. Now, while I was rolling it, I was able to get most of the indentations covered, but paint has a nasty habit when it's drying. It shrinks a little bit, which is reopening that. So I'm going to have to go back through and retouch all the panels with a paintbrush. I've gotten 3 done so far, and they look like that. And you can see the shiny points on it. That's the wet paint. It's got to dry. But I think what I'm going to do after I get this one and that one done, I was able to get 5 done yesterday. I got 3 done over there, so I got this one and this one left to do. Once I get done getting these 2 touched up, I'm going to do several by paintbrush instead of roller and see how long it takes. I am kind of keeping an eye on my time per panel, so I know how long it took me to roll it, how long it took me to go back through, cut the edges in, do the touch-ups. And I'm just going to kind of go from there, and I'll make a decision whether I'm going to just switch over to brushing them all or rolling them all, and then coming back and touching them up. Well, welcome to March 1st. And we've got some progress made. And we got the brick painted gray. Now, so far we've done 3 colors. We've done the white, which is the base coat. We've done the black for the grout lines. And we just got done doing a greenish gray for the brick. My next step is the outside edge here that's in white on the panels. I gotta get those painted. Now, the brick, originally, I was going to roll and then come back through and cut in, whatever the roller didn't get. And it looked like it was going to take a hell of a lot more time, so I went ahead and just did all the brick by brush. The white area around the rim, though, on the other hand, is going to be rolled, so it should go quicker. The part of rolling it will go quicker. My problem, I have the same problem as I did when I shot the white, the base coat. I only have room for 23 panels in here to dry. And since the rolling is not going to take all that long, I don't think, I'll probably get these I'll get half of them rolled today, come in tomorrow, clean those up, and then get the other half rolled, and then it'll be a short day out here. because I really can't do anything until the paint's all the way dry. So, but anyway, that's what we're getting ready to do now. I'll give you another shot of it after I get the next color on. Gotta start this segment with a Kaylee. Huh? We get Kaylee on camera. Oh, it's March 2nd. We did pretty good yesterday. The rolling I was doing on the outside edge here, totally done. All the panels. I got one stack done. Took about 2.5 hour break. Came back out and got the other half done. So that color is officially done. Now, I should be going on to putting the eyes and the nose here and getting the knot done. But we are going to backtrack a little bit. I was noticing when I was doing the border here, a lot of the skulls need a second coat. I mean, like here, you can tell it's kind of splotchy. So I'm going to come back with my brush and we're going to touch up all the skulls. And I'm also noticing here, you can see some white there, and there's some more white over here. A lot of the brick need to be touched up as well. So I'm going to get 2 cups out, put black and this greenish gray color into them, and grab some brushes. And we're going to go back through all the panels, and we're going to touch up the skulls, and we're going to touch up the brick. And we're going to do that to all the panels. Some panels are okay on the gray. Others need to be touched up. So it's touch-up time. And then once that's done, we'll get in here and get the other colors. Well, welcome to March 2nd. Another step done. The last 2 steps have gone fairly quick. Panels don't look any different. I went through, I touched up the skulls. Those do look a little bit darker, and I went and touched up the brick. I did that stack yesterday and this stack today. And it is 2:57. So it's time to move on to the next step. We're going to add another color to the panels. This time, silver. On the knot here, I'll be adding silver to the centerpiece here. And then up here on the skulls, you can see I kind of scratched it out already. I'm going to be adding the eyes and the nose to it. And what I'm doing is I have a skull I used for another foam carving project. It's slightly smaller than what I need. So I am kind of eyeballing it there, where I want the eye at, scratching the surface, and then moving it over here and doing the same thing, and then moving it down a bit and doing the nose. That will give me a rough outline, and I'll just paint silver in those spots, to do the eyes. So I'm going to do both the skull and the center part on the knot on all the panels. That's my next step. Oh, welcome to March 3rd. This is going quick. At least this stage is. To a point. Started yesterday painting silver, both there and up on the skulls. I've got all the panels done with one coat. I'm noticing with the metallic paints, latex paints I get from Home Depot, it goes on semi-thin, so it needs 2 coats. So I am going to have to revisit painting the silver again, basically going over, giving it a second coat. But I'm going to hold off because of the outer rim of the knot. The outer rim of the knots is going to be gold, and I'm going to have the same problem with it as I'm having with the silver. It's going to need a second coat. So I'm going to work on getting the inside of the knots painted and colored. Then we'll come back to get the first coat on the gold, and then when I'm ready to do the second coat on the gold, I'll come back through and do second coat on the silver at the same time. It doesn't take long. Not much of it to paint, so it goes real quick. Now, we are going to be starting with those panels there. And we're going to be doing green on the top portion. Now the top portions on both panels are in the same spot. So this will be green and this one will be green. On this set, this lower one is going to be blue. And I'm going to paint both the green and the blue at the same time. When I get over to here, I'll switch out the blue and we'll do the green up here and red down here. So there will be a color change. And you'll see it when I get it done. Well, hey ho, people. Another day, another no dollar day. We got that done. I can't get far enough back for you to get all of the panels in, but we got the red, the green, and the blue done. Now my next chore on here is this white part, the knot itself. Those have to be painted gold. And I've got a problem I've had a couple of times during the project. When I'm doing my painting, like the insets here, either on the skull, the brick, the green, red, blue, silver, and stuff. When I get them painted, I can go ahead and just stack them up like this. Not a problem. When I'm doing the face stuff, what I'm calling face is the face of the panels, the surface of the panels. Like here on the outside trim, and like what I'm going to have to do here on the gold on the knot. I can't stack them that way. If I stack them like this, the panels will stick together, and when you separate them, the paint will be peeled off. So I've got to, as I paint them, I've got to put them out separately around the shop. And you've seen that in other videos or other segments. I've only got room, I can only do 23 panels. So at a time doing it that way, which means I'm going to get one stack done. I'm going to have to call it quits, either for a day or for a couple hours. Come in, clean up the mess, and then I can do the other 23, and then they've got to dry. The next 2 rounds of painting are going to be like that. I'm only going to be able to do half the panels at a time. First off, with putting the initial coat of gold on there, you notice there's some of the brick coloring up here on the panels. There's a big one down here. The gold is worse than the silver. It's very translucent. So before I can put the gold on, I'm going to have to get the panel up on the table, take my sanding block over it lightly to get some of that off so the gold will cover better. And then I can sit there and just paint panels. Once all the gold is done and is dried, I am going to have to come back through, because like the silver, you can see up there it's kind of thin. I've got to second coat the silver. I'm going to have to second coat the gray gold too. So I'll do those two together. On the second coat, I'll do the gold and the silver. That way they're done. So it's going to be a process, probably a couple of day project, but we'll get there. Well, hey people, more progress made. Just got done with the gold and the silver. They've had 2 coats, each of them. And technically, I could call it quits there. But for me, I've got another sad thing I need to do. The reason why I'm saying this is sad is because this was something Morgan and I were supposed to do together. And with her dying back in December, we can't do it together. So I've got to do it by myself. And it's got me a little bit upset, emotionally upset. But it's something that needs to be done for the panels. Normally, this outside edge, I've got several other styles of panels in the haunt. The one that's coming to mind right now is the graveyard. That has that type of border on it. Normally, I heat treat it. You know, I'll make the surface rough, and I paint 2 different shades of gray, and we call it quits on that. The last, or the original set of panels I did for the Pirate, Morgan helped me do a sponging technique on them. And when I told her I was going to be making up a new panels for the Pirate, she point blank asked me, can I help? And I go, help with what? She goes, painting. And I said, you mean sponging the paint on? She goes, yeah, I want to help. Sorry, give me a moment here. So I am going to sponge these as an homage to Morgan. We're going to do some purple on here. Now to do the sponging technique, get a cup with some paint in it. You see I got purple paint. I got some paper plates there. Pick out the sponge that you want to use, dip it in the paint, and then come over here and blot it on the paper plate a couple of times to get rid of a lot of the excess. The more you take off, the fainter of a pattern you'll have. And then just take this, once it's loaded, and press it up against the foam. And just go over the foam. And that's what we're going to do. Morgan loved doing this type of work because she'd get creative. And she actually got quite good on it. The last set of panels she helped me do was the water room. But anyway, I'm going here. I need to get going on this. But we're going to start sponging. And once we're done with sponging, I will be fairly much done with the project. It's probably going to take a couple of days to do. Well, we finally reached what I call the end, at least for now. Here we go. We got the purple on in memory of Morgan. And you notice I have 2 stacks there and a small stack there. I've got 1 step left to do, and it has to do with that small stack. I've got to cut them down the middle in half. I've got 6 full sheets there, and I need to turn them into 12 1-foot panels. Which means I got to drag out the table saw so I can get them cut. I am not going to show that process. You really don't need to see it. There's not really all that much to show because I won't be filming while I'm cutting. So I'm calling the project done. We're at that stage where we are done. But there's a final look of the new Pirate panels. It will be interesting to see what they look like in the Pirate display with the fish netting and everything that we use hanging down over it. Should be interesting. And it's a little bit darker of a panel than I had originally planned, but I think they look okay. With this being the end of the project, this and the partition project I did, the one I did right before this one, were my only 2 new items for the haunt this year. With Morgan's death, and I was going to wait closer to setup to say anything. My health. I was forced to have to retire this year, and at the moment we're scampering around trying to get income. I have no income coming in. We're living off of savings at the moment. I don't have the money to invest into the haunt to make any more new items. So, unless something comes up, I get a bunch of money in or something, this project and the partition project are going to be the only 2 new things for the haunt. Now, is that going to be the end of vlogs? No. When I was taking down the haunt, I started keeping a list of everything that needed to be worked on. I've got about 20 to 30 items on it, roughly, that need maintenance or repairs or something like that. So we're going to go into maintenance mode and we're going to work on that list. Some of the projects are real quick, simple, and easy. Others are going to take a day or two to do. I'm hoping to get into maybe late May, early June with these. And then after that, I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing. That might be it until we do start setup in September. I don't know. It all depends on money. I was hoping the GoFundMe I have up on the end of the intro for the vlogs, and it's listed up on my Facebook page, would help bring a little bit of money in that I could put toward haunting. But haven't gotten anything yet. I'm hoping people will donate and help out, though, after all we've done for the community and everything. But anyway, that's pretty much where we're at right now. We will have some maintenance vlogs over the next couple of months that we'll be doing. And then we'll kind of go from there. Oh, one project I have been kind of dinking around with, the security cam footage that I got from the haunt last year. I've been slowly working my way through that and trying to pull out some scare cam footage. You might, marking it as a big might, get a scare cam vlog out of me. You know, if I can, you know, put my nose to the grindstone and get that done. It's not something that's real quick and simple. I've got 14 cameras and 40 to 50 hours of footage per camera that I have to sort through. It ain't quick, it ain't easy. I can only stare at fast forward footage for so long before I have to quit. So you might have that coming up too. But with that, I hope you like the project. Stay spooky, stay toxic.